Hello and welcome to WEBICLASS again. I'm glad to see you ready for another lesson of language analysis. Right, for today's objectives, we have sharpen. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to sharpen your vision and see clearly, because vision is very important in language analysis. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to find your own examples of oxymoron. Today's lesson is entitled The Comparison, because when you can form pictures in your mind, you should be able to find two things that are in comparison. Now, we're going to focus on imagery, juxtaposition, and oxymoron for today. Fine, let's start with imagery. Imagery, as the word suggests, has to do with pictures, scenery, visualization, and the images that you see. Well, when you are reading a book or you are listening to someone speaking, you are analyzing the language that the person is speaking or has written. You must be able to see clearly in your imagination, otherwise you will come across problems. So imagery is just what you see. Which images or pictures do you see? Now, in the last lesson, we saw these two sentences: my mother is an elephant and you are a star. We talked extensively about these. I hope you still remember. If you don't, please go back and listen to the lesson again. In my mother is an elephant, we saw a comparison. And as I said earlier, comparison is very important, very, very important in language analysis. Another important thing I'm introducing today is imagery, or the vision. So we saw that mother and elephant were being compared. Now that's a comparison, but then we were able to see in our minds what mother looked like, because we could picture an elephant, okay. Then we saw also you are a star. We were able to visualize star and put the attributes of star against you, so we knew exactly what the teacher was telling you when the teacher said you are a star. Now, once you put these two images together, you are actually using what we call juxtaposition. So my mother is an elephant, mother and elephant are juxtaposed, and you are a star. There's a juxtaposition, and you and star, so that is juxtaposition. Now, juxtaposition is putting two things side by side. That is what juxtaposition is about. Juxtaposition, putting side by side two things, two images, two concepts, whatever you have. Now, oxymoron. Oxymoron is when you put two opposites together side by side. Two things that are usually not found together. If you put them side by side, you are using the technique called oxymoron. Now, look at these. Formidable cripple. Because a cripple is supposed to be the opposite of formidable. If you say formidable cripple, you have used oxymoron. Oh, I'm frightened by the loud silence in this room, or the loud silence is disturbing. Loud and silence are opposite concepts. We do not encounter silence which is loud, because they are opposites. If you put them together, you are using oxymoron. Bright darkness. This darkness is very bright. Oxymoron, bright, is the opposite of darkness. And when writers use oxymoron, just like any other technique, they are putting these two things together so that the difference is clear. So the difference is exacerbated. The difference is highlighted, That is what oxymoron does. If you place two things together, you have oxymoron. And because the two are opposites, you see the difference very clearly. That's what oxymoron generally does. Now, I'm going to give you two real examples which I've come across in my life. Let me start with your WEBICLASS teacher, that is myself. Some years ago, I went to teach in a school, a girls' school. I went to a section of the school that's the sixth form section. And there, around that time, there was no male teacher. The school was a girls' school. There was no male teacher in the sixth form section. So, when I went in, I was the only male teacher that they had seen for a long, long time. And at that time, they weren't expecting to see any male teacher. So, I went into the library to do some work with a group of students, girls, of course. And then, when anyone entered the library, they focused attention on us because my presence created an oxymoron. Why? Because girls' school, I was the only male among them. And they didn't expect to see a male teacher because they hadn't seen a male teacher there for some time. I was the only one with a different skin color. That was also oxymoron. It attracted their attention. You see, everyone stared at us. They saw the difference clearly because male among female, they were not expecting that. Teacher with a different skin color, they were shocked because they didn't know one was going to come to the school on that day. Right. Then, another very good instance of oxymoron I've always said to students is this. When you take a book to read, the pages are white. The printing is black. Why? Because we have black printed against a white background, which is the page. Black and white are opposites. So there is clear oxymoron there. I mean, if they had written or typed the words in white, what would happen? You wouldn't see the words. But black and white being opposites are put together on the page. That is why we find reading very easily. So this is an instance of oxymoron which we see every day in our lives, perhaps without really noticing it. This is your takeaway. Please read it. Go do it. You have a week. Be ready with your answers before the next lesson. Thank you very much. This is your WEBICLASS. This is your WEBICLASS teacher again, as usual, Roger Olympio. Bye.
Are you not yet subscribed? Don't lose out. Join us in WEBICLASS. Share, ask questions, suggest and subscribe.